Libra, my dear cosmic balance keeper, let me ask you something straight away. What if the biggest emotional shock of your year is already on its way? And this week is the moment it hits? Yes, I said it. This week could collapse. Something you've built your inner world around, whether it's trust in someone, faith in a relationship, security in a role, or identity, may begin to unravel in a way you didn't see coming. But listen closely, because this is not a punishment. It's preparation. A sacred unraveling, designed not to break you, but to break you open. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where the messages are never random and the timing is always divine. This isn't just another horoscope reading. This is a transmission, a spiritual signal, a turning point disguised as a video. If you're here right now, it's not by coincidence. You were guided here by something bigger than logic. Call it fate, call it your higher self, or maybe even the whisper of someone you loved and lost. The universe knows when you're ready to hear the truth, and that moment is now. So take a breath, Libra. Place your hand over your heart and close your eyes for a few seconds. Can you feel it? That quiet thrum of change beneath the surface of everything? That's the rhythm of destiny. This week, something buried may rise. Something hidden may come to light. And something you thought would last forever might shatter. But stay with me, because what breaks this week isn't meant to ruin you. It's meant to reveal you. The real you. The soul self you've been hiding beneath roles, attachments, and illusions. And I promise, there is a light at the end of this reckoning. We're going to explore this forecast deeply. With astrology. With tarot. With energy. With truth. And yes, with soul. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only what is coming, but why it's happening for your highest evolution. But before we go any further, I want to pause and thank you. Truly. Thank you for showing up here with your presence, your curiosity, and your courage. Every like, every thoughtful comment, every new subscriber, this is how we grow as a family at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support fuels this mission to bring spiritual clarity to those who are ready to walk through fire and come out gold. So if you feel something stirring within you as you hear these words, if something in your chest tightens, if your intuition is nodding quietly, I want you to comment below right now. I am ready to face the truth and rise. Not from a but for you. To declare to the universe that you're not hiding anymore. Now stay with me until the end of this message, Libra. Because the revelations in the cards are unlike anything I've seen for you in a long time. What you're about to discover may shake you, but it will also shape you into something stronger than ever before. Let's begin. Something unusual may already be happening, Libra, and maybe you felt it. Not through logic or signs, but in the quiet unease beneath your skin, in that whisper behind your daily thoughts, or in the way time seems to feel heavier than usual. That's not coincidence. That's energy. And this week, it's pressing in on you from every side, because the cosmos is aligning in a way that won't let you ignore the deeper truths any longer. With Pluto retrograde moving through your fourth house, the domain of family, ancestry, and emotional roots, what's buried can no longer stay buried. Old contracts, generational patterns, secrets that shaped your behavior without your knowledge, theory beginning to shift. At the same time, Black Moon Lilith is activating your house of legacy and public identity. That's a double alignment that says, You're being pushed to reconcile the private truth of who you are with the public image you've upheld, even if that image was built to protect you. If you've been having recurring dreams, sudden flashbacks, or the uncanny feeling that something is watching or following you, it's not paranoia. It's perception. Your soul is more awake than ever. And when the soul senses a breakthrough coming, the ego often experiences it as fear, chaos, or collapse. What you're feeling is that threshold. Something you've considered stable, whether a person, role, or belief, is no longer structurally sound. It might be a betrayal you didn't see coming. A business deal that unravels. A long-term friendship that suddenly feels false. And as painful as that sounds, this isn't destruction for the sake of suffering. It's disruption with divine purpose. From the lens of astrology, Pluto doesn't destroy, he reveals. He strips away illusions and leaves you with only what's real. Lilith doesn't sabotage, she liberates. She demands truth in places where you've been pretending. And when these two archetypes work together, you're not being punished. You're being refined. Imagine a bridge that's been carrying too much weight for too long. Its cracks go unseen until one pressure point snaps and the whole thing trembles. That tremble isn't failure, it's the first chance to rebuild with better materials. That's what's happening inside of you. Now, this isn't just energy theory. It's also about what you choose to do with the awareness. In my years of working with thousands of spiritual seekers, one truth remains constant. The ones who rise after loss are the ones who stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead ask, "What is this showing me about who I've become and who I'm meant to be?" Even in the busiest days of life, God often whispers through interruptions. A cancelled plan. A broken contract. A person who vanishes without warning. These aren't just setbacks. Sometimes they are divine appointments in disguise, your soul's way of bringing you back to the path you once strayed from, gently, then firmly, then unavoidably. So if this week brings tremors, emotional, relational, even professional, let yourself feel them fully. Let yourself break, if you must. The breaking is sacred. And in the silence after, something clearer begins to form. In the scripture of everyday life, faith is not just about comfort, it's about trusting that some of God's most powerful miracles begin in the rubble. You are not losing your way. You are being returned to it. You are not being tested as punishment. You are being invited into a new covenant with your highest self. But you must be willing to look at what's falling away and bless it, even as you let it go. This is not just energy astrology. This is your spiritual architecture being redesigned in real time. And your soul already knows the blueprint. Sometimes it's not what happens, but when it happens that determines the depth of its impact. Libra, there are certain windows in time that act like spiritual pressure points, moments where energy condenses, amplifies, and cracks open something within or around you. This week, I want you to pay close attention to one of those windows. Thursday, between 3 o'clock and 6 p.m. That's not an arbitrary slot. It's a cosmic corridor, and what I'm seeing in the cards, the Tower reversed, 5 of Cups, 3 of Swords, and 8 of Wands reversed, is a chorus of signals warning that this particular stretch of time may carry a strong emotional storm. Now, I'm not here to alarm you. My role is not to predict fear, but to equip you with foresight. What could unfold during these 3 hours isn't necessarily external chaos, it could be an internal trigger, a sudden realization, or a truth dropped into your lap like an emotional thunderclap. Maybe it's a phone call that brings unexpected news. Maybe it's a message or a social media post that catches you off guard. Or it could be overhearing a conversation never meant for your ears, one that pulls the rug out from underneath what you thought was certain. Energetically, this time frame is unstable. Think of it like a current under the surface that's stronger than it looks. This is not the moment to sign documents, have high-stakes conversations, or react impulsively. It's also not the time to cling to control or force clarity. There is divine wisdom in delay. There's power in pause. As I often say in my own practice, postponement is sometimes protection in disguise. In astrology, the tower reversed is still the tower. It signals disruption, but often internalized, like an emotional volcano held just beneath the surface. The Five of Cups speaks of grief not yet released, while the Three of Swords is heartbreak made visible. And the Eight of Wands reversed? Delays, miscommunications, and actions that backfire when rushed. Together, these cards create a message that is crystal clear: allow this moment to pass. Don't push. Don't decide. Just observe. You know, in my years of guiding souls through the delicate process of self-awakening, I've witnessed again and again how some of the worst-timed interruptions later turn out to be holy redirections. That job you didn't get. That relationship that dissolved out of nowhere. That door you desperately wanted to open, which stayed stubbornly shut. Often, in hindsight, those were the very things that cleared the path for breakthroughs you never imagined. And that's what I sense in this window of time for you, Libra. Not punishment, but intervention. In the stillness of delay, answers often come. And if you need a story to anchor you, let me tell you this. A woman I once worked with had planned to confront a loved one on a Thursday evening about something deeply painful. Right before the conversation, her phone died unexpectedly, and she couldn't reach them. Hours later, she discovered that person had just suffered a loss of their own that night. Had she spoken her truth then, the emotional damage could have been irreparable. That delay? It was not an accident. It was grace. So if this Thursday feels heavy, chaotic, or strange, I urge you to treat that hour like a sacred threshold. Let yourself feel but not react. Let the messages come but don't assume you must interpret them instantly. Let the moment pass through you without becoming it. Remember, just because something wants your energy, doesn't mean it deserves it. And just because something feels urgent, doesn't mean it's wise to act on it. Pause. Protect your peace. And above all, trust the timing that protects your becoming. When everything begins to feel uncertain, dear Libra, and the ground beneath your heart starts to shake, it's natural to question not only the people around you, but your own choices, your own prayers, your own faith. This part of your journey, the spiritual test, is not meant to break you. It's designed to reveal the illusions you've outgrown. The truth surfacing now may sting. It may cause you to look back and wonder, was that love ever real? Did I waste time believing in someone who never believed in me? Have my prayers gone unanswered? Or worse, unheard? These are not signs of spiritual weakness, but signs that your soul is preparing for a deeper awakening. Doubt is not the enemy, it's a doorway. And behind that doorway is clarity, peace, and liberation. Sometimes, the silence you feel isn't abandonment. It's a sacred pause, a divine recalibration. In many sacred teachings, it said that when God is silent, He is not ignoring you, He is watching to see if you will still trust Him in the dark. This is that moment for you. Not to prove yourself to the universe, but to meet the unshakable part of yourself that doesn't need constant confirmation to know you are guided. The illusions you are shedding were never yours to carry forever. They served their purpose. They shaped your strength. But now, they are dissolving. Let them. You might not have all the answers yet, but that's not required for transformation to begin. What's required is surrender. Surrender to the mystery without labeling it as punishment. Surrender to the stillness without demanding a sign. Surrender to your own inner knowing that if something is leaving your life right now, it's making space for something divinely aligned. And let's talk about those prayers. The ones whispered in quiet rooms. The ones written in journals soaked with tears. The ones that felt too big, too bold, too impossible. Libra, none of those prayers were wasted. They didn't disappear into the void. They were planted like seeds buried, unseen, but working under the surface. What you're feeling right now might be the soil cracking open. That pressure, that discomfort. It's what happens when something sacred is preparing to rise. Sometimes, God answers our prayers not by adding more but by removing what blocks the blessings. And yes, that removal can feel like loss, betrayal, or confusion. But it's holy. What if the unanswered prayer is actually divine protection? What if the wrong turn was a redirection towards something better? What if this moment of pause is not a rejection, but a setup for the biggest breakthrough of your life? This is where your faith evolves. Not into blind hope, but into embodied wisdom. You are not being punished, you are being refined. And like gold and fire, what remains after this trial will shine brighter, stand taller, and love deeper. So if you're in the dark right now, I invite you to say aloud or write in your journal, I accept the darkness so that light may come. This declaration isn't weakness, it's power. It's trust. It's the energy that collapses illusions and opens divine doors. Now I ask you, beautiful Libra, what illusions are you ready to release? What truths are rising inside you that you're finally brave enough to face? Comment below and affirm your readiness. Let the universe see your declaration. Let the angels hear it. Let your soul feel it. When everything begins to fall apart, it may feel like the end, but what if it's only the sacred beginning disguised as chaos? For Libra, this phase is not punishment, it's preparation. The crumbling of the familiar is the echo of destiny rearranging your life to fit the truth of your soul. You might suddenly feel estranged in your own home, disconnected from friends you thought would walk beside you forever, or even betrayed by someone who once shared your deepest spiritual beliefs. These moments aren't accidents, they are energetic catalysts designed to rip away illusions and expose the hidden structure of your true calling. Sometimes it takes losing the place you call home to find the sanctuary inside yourself. Sometimes, only after the bridge burns can you see the path that was waiting behind the smoke. A person you trusted may walk away, and it will sting, but in their absence, you will remember how to walk alone, and eventually, walk into alignment. The grief is real, yes. But within the storm, there is always a seed, tiny, divine, and full of promise. That seed will only germinate in the fertile ground of surrender. And then, without warning, something remarkable happens, a message, so subtle, it might seem like a dream. A feather on the windowsill, a line from a song that feels like it was written just for you, a vision in a half-wake state where you hear the voice of someone who has already crossed over. You are not imagining it. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual affirmations arriving when you need them most, proof that even in the absence of earthly support, heaven is working overtime on your behalf. You may also find yourself hit with a sudden idea and inspired thought that flashes through your mind when you've reached the very bottom. It might be a creative solution, a business concept, a healing ritual, or the decision to finally leave what no longer serves you. That spark is sacred. Follow it. It is not random, it is grace. Even strangers may carry keys to your future. A smile in a supermarket. A stranger's comment that opens your eyes. Divine orchestration often uses the most ordinary vessels to deliver the most extraordinary help. Stay open. This is how resurrection looks. It doesn't arrive as thunder. It comes in whispers, in nudges, in glimmers of the next version of you. In tarot, when the world appears after devastation, it's not just a card, it's a declaration. It says, you have completed the hardest lessons. The karmic loop has closed. A new you is being born from the ashes of everything that wants to find your identity. The collapse you're feeling is not the end, it's the divine exhale before the new breath begins. This moment is not to be feared. It is holy. And it will make sense soon. So Libra, do not curse the storm. Ask instead, what is it clearing away so that the truth can grow? You are being called to rise not in spite of the destruction, but because of it. Let this be your quiet turning point. Let your tears water the soil of tomorrow's miracles. And as you wait for the first green shoot to break through, remember, beauty always returns. Especially through you. Some things don't need to be shouted to be heard by the soul. And this is one of them. If you've arrived at this message, it means you're ready not just to be told what will happen, but to participate in what can happen when you allow healing to take root in your daily life. This isn't just a reading, it's a quiet invitation from the universe to reset, to realign, to reclaim your energy in 4 areas of your life where hidden fractures may be blocking your blessings. Let's talk about what it means to truly practice self-healing, not as a trendy phrase, but as a sacred act of remembering who you are. Let's start with your health, because without it, even miracles feel heavy. Sleep, often overlooked, is actually one of the most spiritual things you can do. When your body rests, your spirit repairs. If you've been waking up anxious, overthinking at night, or feeling constantly fatigued, that's not just stress, it's a sign your nervous system is asking for a reset. Magnesium and vitamin B aren't just nutrients, they are allies for your brain chemistry. Reducing caffeine and alcohol is not about punishment, it's about choosing clarity over chaos. Even the simple 4-7-8 breathing technique before bed, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8, has the power to rewire your brain for peace. Don't underestimate the sacred power of one calm breath. Now, about work. If you've been feeling disconnected, depleted, or like you're dragging yourself through tasks that no longer feed your soul, listen closely. You are not a machine. You are a vessel of purpose. If a job or role has drained you beyond repair, it's okay to say, that chapter is closed. You don't have to burn the building down to leave the room, you can walk out with grace. Start small. Write down 3 talents or passions you've ignored or set aside for later. Later is now. Your soul will whisper them to you when you're ready to remember that you were made for more than survival. Financially, this is a checkpoint. Something you once signed, an old contract, an agreement, or even a belief about what you deserve, might need to be revisited. Sometimes abundance is delayed not because you're unworthy, but because something old is still leaking your energy. This week is not the time for risky investments or get-rich distractions. But stay alert. The universe is quirky. Refunds, reimbursements, or blessings from places you gave up on may suddenly arrive. Like the story of someone I once guided who received an unexpected payout from a job they'd left years ago, proof that what's meant for you never expires. God doesn't forget the seeds you've sown. And then there's love. If you're in a relationship, and there's a quiet discomfort growing inside you, don't dismiss it. Sometimes what you call overthinking is actually your spirit trying to speak through your emotions. Don't be afraid to explore the discomfort with honesty, not blame. If you're single, and your heart feels ready but the path feels foggy, remember this. Your soulmate doesn't come to fix your loneliness, they come when you no longer betray your truth to impress anyone. The right one doesn't require you to shrink. They find you when you stand tall in your light. Don't rush to be chosen. Choose yourself first. You don't have to do all of this perfectly. Healing isn't a checklist, it's a rhythm. Some days it's breathing deeply. Some days it's saying no to what drains you. Some days it's remembering that even when life gets noisy, God still sends whispers. Let this message be one of them. And if something here spoke to your heart, was it about love? Money? Health? Purpose? Tell me in the comments. Your voice activates your intention. And if this message brought you a little clarity, a little strength, or a little peace, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot and let's keep walking this path together. You are not alone in this. You're not broken. You're becoming. Dearest Libra, this week may shake the ground beneath you but not to destroy you. No, it's here to awaken you. You might feel as though something is being taken from you, like a truth you once trusted is unraveling before your very eyes. You may feel pushed out of a situation, a relationship, or a reality you've grown comfortable in. Perhaps without warning, life shifts and your heart scrambles to understand why. But I need you to hear this: you are not being punished. You are being chosen. You are being invited into the most authentic version of yourself, and sometimes that path begins with a storm. Yes, the universe may allow certain things to fall apart, not to harm you, but to remove everything that cannot walk with you into your next chapter. You see, growth is rarely comfortable, but always sacred. And the truth is, what you're walking through right now is sacred ground. Your tears are not weakness, they are water for the seeds of your future strength. Sometimes it takes a collapse to finally build a life rooted in truth. Sometimes it takes a goodbye to finally meet your soul's truest yes. Sometimes it takes being alone to realize you were never really abandoned but redirected. And Libra, if you hold steady during this shift, if you choose to walk through this with intention, with courage, with surrender to a higher plan, you will discover parts of yourself that you never knew existed. Braver parts. Clearer parts. Wiser parts. You will attract relationships that honor your depth, not just your surface. You will discover opportunities that match your frequency, not just your resume. You will step into abundance that comes not from effort alone, but from energetic alignment. So please don't resist this divine disruption. Don't cling to what was. Don't shrink to fit into places where your soul can no longer breathe. Instead, say yes to the unknown. Say yes to the mystery of this moment. Say yes to becoming someone you've never been but always carried inside of you. If this message touched something in you, if your spirit recognizes this shift, even through the pain, I invite you to anchor it. Write this in the comments: I am ready to walk through the storm and become my greatest self. Declare it not just for yourself, but for everyone who may find this message when they need it most. Let your words be a torch. Let your choice be your power. Let your storm be your rebirth. And above all, remember this: you are not alone in this transformation. You are surrounded by unseen help, divine guidance, and a collective of kindred spirits who are also rising just like you. Thank you for allowing Zodiac Whisper Tarot to walk this path with you. Your presence here matters more than you know. If this video resonated with your soul, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might be quietly searching for the light. Because healing is never meant to happen in isolation. And Libra, whenever it gets too loud out there, return to this space. We will still be whispering truth, love, and light. Just for you. Let this week be the one that didn't break you. Let it be the one that built you. Let it be the week your story turns sacred. Because it already has. Welcome home.